Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cryptonews Weekly Roundup. So good to not be alone this week. I was lonely last week, but we are back. Rachel, welcome back to the show. How was vacay and where are you now?
Yeah, well, bonjour, Matt, and hello, everybody. I am currently in Paris, and it is just lovely, perfect weather right now. Super excited to be here and can't wait to meet up with some crypto companies soon.
I love it. Let's jump into it. Guys, last week I did say, and again, I'm no price prediction expert, and I'm usually very positive and not a negative Nancy, so don't go at me here, but I did say that we would probably have a red week this week as we had an onslaught of green weeks. Rachel and I were praying. The crypto gods answered our prayers, but this week we are red. Bitcoin's down 4% to 106.7K. Ethereum is pretty much even at 2.64K per ETH. XRP down 6% to 227 per XRP, and Solana is down 5 ticks to 168. Everything else is give or take down the same, give or take around 5% across the board. But tons of crazy news this week. It's probably the most retail friendly news of the week. This has been in the news and in the rumors for about 6 weeks now. It finally happened. GameStop joins the corporate treasury Bitcoin play. Rachel, this was lovely, lovely news.
Yeah, Matt, I agree. This was great news. GameStop added 4,710 Bitcoin to its treasury amid a crypto push. The American video game retailer GameStop has acquired 4,710 Bitcoin, the company announced a May 28th post on X. The company did not provide any other details, but the announcement comes after GameStop officially adopted Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset in March.
Yep, good for GameStop. Still one of the most tracked stocks by the retail degenerates and the younger folks. So this is great for onboarding strategy. And Mr. Saylor added again, this time snagging 4,020, which is very mimetic for 420, but 4,020 Bitcoin at a price of 427 million for an average price of $106,237 per coin. They now have 580,250 Bitcoins, which is absolutely wild, acquired for a total of $40.6 billion. So just about 40 billion. And the average price is 69.9K per Bitcoin, just under 70. Wild stuff there. And the Bitcoin treasury craziness is not over yet this week as Trump media drops a $2.5 billion bombshell record for a Bitcoin treasury bid. Crazy stuff here, Rachel.
Yeah, Matt, let's get into it. So Trump Media and Technology Group is raising $2.5 billion to amass one of the largest Bitcoin treasuries ever held by a public company, betting big on crypto through its Truth Social empire. In a private placement offering, the firm said it is entering into subscription agreements with approximately 50 institutional investors, agreeing to issue $1.5 billion in common stock and $1 billion in 0.00% convertible senior secured notes. The deal is expected to close around May 29th, subject to standard conditions.
Guys, continuing on the publicly traded treasury play, Sol Strategies at it again. They just filed a preliminary base shelf prospectus to give itself the option to raise up to $1 billion in capital. That is absolutely wild. If approved, the company can issue a variety of financial instruments without repeating the full prospective process at each time. That's huge as it allows them to strike when the iron is hot. CEO Leah Wald said the company may never use the full prospectus, but views it as a strategic step to support potential growth. Great job by Leah Wald, Tony G, and the Sol Strategies team as always. And Rachel, some crazy stuff this week in Manhattan as a 37-year-old crypto investor is facing multiple felony charges after allegedly kidnapping and torturing a man in a luxurious Manhattan townhome. Crazy stuff here.
Yeah, Matt, this is happening way too often, but basically a 37-year-old crypto investor is facing multiple felony charges after allegedly kidnapping and torturing a man inside a luxury Manhattan townhouse for nearly 3 weeks in an attempt to steal his Bitcoin. John Woltz, originally from Kentucky, was arrested Friday morning after the 28-year-old victim, a visitor from Italy, managed to escape and flag down a traffic officer in the Nolita neighborhood. According to prosecutors, Woltz and at least one accomplice held the man captive in an 8-bedroom townhouse that Woltz has been renting for about $30,000 a month. The victim flew to New York on May 6. What he believed would be a routine meeting quickly turned into a prolonged ordeal of violence and intimidation. That is crazy stuff and very scary.
Speaking of crazy stuff, James Wynn all over the news this week. Most of you probably haven't heard of James Wynn. I did not hear about this lad until a couple weeks ago. He is an absolute whale who uses HyperLiquid to trade. This last week, his HyperLiquid trades peaked at $87 million in profit, not revenue, pure profit, but later showed weekly unrealized losses of $36 million. He opened a Bitcoin long worth $830 million and added another 1.1 billion as the price crossed the 111,000 mark. At that point, his unrealized profit reached nearly 40 mil, and he used a 40x leverage with the liquidation of 107k. Crazy stuff here as his plan fell through with the news of Trump's tariff plan. And on May 25th, he opened a Bitcoin short position worth about 856 million, again using 40x leverage, aiming to hedge the loss. He only held it for 15 hours and closed it with a $15.5 million loss. Currently, he is down about 60 M's. Imagine losing 60 mil from a crypto trade, and he's touting it on Twitter that it does not even matter at all. Pretty crazy stuff here. Speaking of crazy stuff, Rachel, the DOJ is at it again as they nab 270 suspects in a record Darknet takedown.
Yeah, on May 22nd, the DOJ cracked the dark web's code. 270 suspects were arrested. $200 million in crypto and cash was seized as authorities delivered a crushing blow to Darknet's economy. The operation was dubbed Spector, and it marks the largest Darknet takedown ever, spanning 9 countries and exposing crypto's role as both a weapon and a weak spot for criminals.
Yeah, well said there. Solana in the news again, not just a pretty wild week for price action, but Solana ecosystem just got an upgrade and it should be extremely bullish. It is called the Solana Attestation Service, also known as SAS. It's a new open source permissionless protocol to attest anything, which is hopefully being used for the trust layer of the Internet of Capital Markets. Users can now create secure credentials to meet KYC and KYB requirements across Solana-based applications, and this marks a major step in making Solana DeFi ready for real-world adoption and real-world application, enabling region-based access controls to comply with evolving global regulations. Great work by the Solana team there. BlackRock at it again. Seems like every week BlackRock's in the news. This time they want to snag a significant chunk of Circle, also known as USDC, before they perhaps IPO.
Yeah, Matt. So BlackRock is reportedly planning to purchase around 10% of the shares offered in Circle Internet Group's upcoming initial public offering, according to a Bloomberg report on May 28th. Circle, the issuer of USDC stablecoin, plans to raise up to $624 million through its IPO, according to a filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission.
XRP in the news, joining the corporate treasury play as well. The publicly listed energy company, who I've never heard of until today, known as VivoPower, is investing $121 million in XRP as a strategic reserve, making it the first company in the world with an XRP-focused treasury. Pretty cool here. Even though I don't love XRP, still pretty darn cool. In total, 20 million shares were issued at an average price of $6 per share, generating approximately $121 million in proceeds for the company. Shout out to these guys. Great work there in bridging the gap between TradFi and crypto yet again. And last piece of news this week, which might have been the coolest piece of news, Rachel, New Jersey County to tokenize $240 billion, wild, $240 billion in property deeds on the Avalanche blockchain.
Yeah, Matt, this is just another great use case of real-world asset tokenization. Bergen County, New Jersey's most populous region, has signed a landmark 5-year agreement with blockchain land records firm Balcony to tokenize 370,000 property deeds on the Avalanche blockchain. The project represents an estimated $240 billion in real estate value and marks the largest blockchain deed tokenization initiative in U.S. history, according to Balcony's May 28th announcement. The project aims to cut deed processing times by over 90% and reduce fraud.
Well said. Guys, hope you enjoyed this weekly roundup. That is all we have for this week. Rachel, this is your Michael Jordan moment. Rachel's sick and she's still having a flu game. We love to see it. Guys, if you guys enjoyed this one, and we really hope you did, please do hammer that subscribe button, hammer the like button. And as always, we will be launching new episodes every Friday morning that recap the hottest, trendiest, and most important news of the crypto world that week. Rachel and I love doing this with you, and we hope you guys enjoy watching us. As always, we will see you on the next one. Thanks for tuning in, and enjoy your weekend. See you guys.